So I remember a sermon that Rabbi Stephen Wild delivered at Beth Jacob about Deuteronomy, the beginning of Deuteronomy chapter 21, when if a community finds a body like in a field, and the body is not, you don't know what happened to the person, the elders representing the community have to gather around, and they have to kill the heifer, and they have to declare that none of us knew what happened to this person, none of us facilitated the death of this person. So the Rabbi Weil was making the point that Shul should be a safe place, and that freaks and weirdos should not be hanging out at Shul. It should not be an acceptable place for freaky people.
Did he say that right before he kicked you out?
And so he came down to the Happy Minyan to give this talk. The Happy Minyan has some eccentric characters. So I immediately went up to him and I said, I totally agree with what you said. I feel like Shul should be a safe place, but I agree with you. But I've got my own surahs because I had just been kicked out of Young Israel Century City for writing on the porn industry. So he said, well, your case is more complex, and then I wrote some raunchy stuff on my new porn-free site. I quit writing on the porn industry, but I wrote some raunchy stuff, and he called me up and he said, people have a problem with some of the terminology you're using. Would you mind davening somewhere else? So he wanted to keep the freaks out, particularly meaning single men.
So he was the rabbi at
Beth Jacob
who kicked you out.
Yeah.
You never told us that. You always just said that you were. Okay, so now last week we talked about who the Chabad guy was.
Right.
So I know who that is.
Right.
You told us last year who the Aish Torah was.
Right.
And the other one was B'nai David.
B'nai David in Young Israel Century City.
Who kicked you out of B'nai David?
Some
woman. It had to be a woman.
No,
they're the Rebbitzin. And Young Israel. You mentioned who that is in the book.
Right. And I tell you what, when I was sick, when I was tossing my cookies into the toilet, I was vomiting again and again.
Thank you for taking us there.
All those rabbis were right. They were right to kick me out. I should not
some of the rabbis. Oh God! Here comes all the self-pity.
This is the opposite of self-pity. This is self-flagellation. I was thinking they were right and I was wrong, and how dare I give any of these rabbis a hard time for just doing the righteous thing? How dare I raise a finger against them to my keyboard? They were the righteous ones and I was the wicked one, and I need to shape up my life and stop complaining about other people and lead a more righteous life so that doesn't keep happening to me.